Hey everybody, today is Wednesday, March 29th, 2023, and I decided that it's been a while since I've recorded any sort of inspirational message, or Dharma is what we call it in the practice of yoga. And I had some interesting messages come through as I have been in hermit mode trying to work on some inner peace and inner confidence. And today was the day that I sat still enough to be able to listen. They say that prayer is the conversation you have with your higher power or God to ask for the things in life that you desire, and that sitting in meditation or just in stillness with no distractions is where the messages come through, where God or your higher power says, here's how you should move forward. And so I did a post on social media just a little while ago about some pictures that I had just recently seen that were taken a couple of months ago. It was for a yoga shoot for a studio that I teach at. And I remember on that day, I was in the middle of my cleanse. I was feeling really good in my body. My mind was really clear. I wore the teal leggings instead of the black ones that I normally always wear. And I remember walking away from that photo shoot actually feeling really good in my body and my mind, which normally the two don't sync up together. And so since then, I've been rolling through life with some things that have been emotionally challenging for me to move through without reaching for something to numb the moment. And I've talked openly before about my journey in recovery. So I don't drink, I don't smoke pot anymore. I don't use mushrooms, LSD. I never did LSD, but pot for sure, and mushrooms on occasion. I don't do any of those things anymore, but food serves just the same purpose for me, that when I am struggling emotionally, I'll reach for food that is soothing, and most of the time it's something that's not nutritious for my body. So I feel like seeing those pictures today was the smack in the face that I needed, because I've been feeling over the past few weeks that it's been not within my control. Like, I'm the one that has to say, no, don't reach for that because you're sad, have a carrot stick instead. And that's supposed to be the process, and I will learn the process through this wellness coaching program that I'm moving through. And I will say that it might be this assumption that, well, how can you be a wellness coach if you struggle with those things yourself? My lovely dog. And the reality is that I think those that have experienced the difficulty with food and movement make amazing coaches, because they can relate to their clients. And so I've already made my way through the discomfort of being on my yoga mat when I was heavy. And now, at least, even though I have gained weight back, I'm still mobile and I'm still able to move on my mat in ways that I wasn't to in the beginning. So that is a blessing, and I thank my higher power for that. The one thing that the practice of yoga encourages us to do is to speak kindly to ourselves. And so there's a wheel, it's called the 8-limbed path, and it is like a moral compass for us to kind of guide our way through life experiences when they become challenging. And the first limb is yamas and the niyamas. And in those, the first is ahimsa, which is nonviolence, which physically not harming anybody or yourself, but also the words that roll off the tongue. How kind are they when you are speaking to somebody? But most importantly, how kind are they when you're speaking to yourself? In the past few weeks, I haven't been too gentle with myself and my self-talk. And that's the work for me, is to embrace this journey and to practice talking to myself nicely, to practice eating nutritious food, to practice letting go of shame and guilt of gaining weight back. So I had a really great conversation with my therapist today, and I had a really great conversation with my sponsor about some things that were causing me some emotional discomfort that triggers me into reaching for the food. And so after that, I decided that I would journal a little bit, and I would pull a tarot card. And I haven't pulled from the Kali Oracle deck in a while. I just haven't felt that it's been a deck that's been calling to me, or that Spirit has said, no, Michelle, that's the deck that you need to use. And so, a little glare there on my glasses, but that's all right. So the card I pulled today, the last time I pulled it was on April 17th, 2022. And I always look back in my journal to take a look at what experience I was moving through when I pulled the card to see if it was relatable. And lo and behold, I had written in my journal, not on that day, but a day before and a day after, about my struggle with emotional eating. And so here I am today, really allowing myself to face myself in the mirror, to acknowledge where I'm at, to get ready to release and have full surrender, and to hold myself more accountable, right? Because it's just me. There's nobody cooking my food for me. There's nobody encouraging me to eat the right foods at home. It's just me. It's just me. And so that in itself takes practice. That in itself takes practice. The interesting thing is that what stood out to me today is that this goddess, this form of Kali, I probably won't pronounce it right, Bagalamukhi, we'll just go with that, is a golden light of divine protection. And I just finished a mala bead necklace where I had incorporated a yellow wooded beaded bracelet that had broken, and I saved the beads, and I decided to incorporate it into a mala with some other beads that I had. And when I went to select the finishing bead, I had picked up some colored wooden beads, and I put the pink on, and I was like, I'm going to go with the yellow. Yellow was calling to me. So here we have the card of golden light, divine protection, and my soul was already feeling the yellow, being drawn to that. So it says, she arrests the flow of negativity, particularly that of our own making. She is divine intervention and sacred activity. She transforms our karma from that which hinders our joy to that which creates true happiness and bliss for ourselves and all beings. As you seek refuge in her, you are protected from gossip, slander, and any form of negativity from others. A positive turning of the tide of the fortune is predicted. She is the goddess dressed in yellow. Her power is the power to paralyze or immobilize. She is known for pulling the tongues out of demons. And it talks about how, yes, that is a gross characteristic to have, but if you think about the tongue, it's, the words that come off the tongue. Are you speaking kindly, or are you not? And it says to pull the tongue out of a demon is to end its capacity to create trouble. And so it's halting the flow of negativity, which is basically what I needed to hear for myself, is that I need to stop beating myself up. I can't change the past. I can't change the food choices that I've made over the past couple months or longer, really. I'm doing my best. And so I have to accept where I am today in this moment. And so it continues on, and it says, there comes a point when you will realize you no longer need to continue. Understanding the nature of the behavior and of the pain it causes is enough. This is not weakness, but wisdom. And this is what the practice of yoga reminds me, is that in self-study, if I learn that I am in a spiraling, negative, self-sabotaging behavior, to acknowledge it as wisdom. It doesn't have to be negative or guilt-ridden, because we learn and we become wise through seeing the patterns that we move through. So it continues on. Her presence in a reading indicates that you are learning how to self-protect, to have enough self-worth to realize you don't need to accept negative, undermining, and toxic energies in your life. I've walked away from some relationships over the past couple of months that have been really hard to walk away from. But it was needed. It was needed. And I still have love for all the people that I've walked away from, but I have to take care of me, and I have to stand in my truth that walking away was the answer that I needed. It continues on and says, harshness towards ourselves or others is very different from a healthy and humorous recognition of our weaknesses, which helps us become less reactive and creates more happiness. It says we need a healthy sense of self-worth to be committed to growth and learning. We need to believe that we are worthy of our unique destiny. And when she arises in a reading, a blessing of some sort needs to manifest. It may be a type of relationship you have never experienced before, or a new level of professional recognition or respect, or a realization of your innate beauty and value. This gift is essential to your continued spiritual progress, which benefits you and all beings. To be able to receive it, some form of toxic negativity needs to be conquered, and so it shall be. Do not be afraid to affirm your right to thrive. And that's the conversation that I had with my sponsor today, was that a relationship that I walked away from wasn't serving my soul in the realm of believing that I was worthy. And when we believe that we are less than, we participate in ahimsa. And my hope is, as I move through this next month, I have an experience coming up that I have to move through that is going to require courage and strength. And my hope is that when I am done with that experience, that I will be ready for a partner to show up. because the reality is that my energy needs to go towards preparation for this experience. And that when I show myself that I can stand in the face of discomfort and force, that it takes the power away from outside and brings it into me. And with that power, I find worth. You know, my yoga career is really taking off right now, and it's so exciting. It fuels me in a way that I wish could fuel me when I'm not teaching. I want that confidence that I have as a teacher. I don't feel like I'm in my body when I'm teaching. I feel like I'm just this little orb that's like floating around the room. So that's where I'm going to end it today, because speaking of, I have to get to class here pretty soon and I need to work on my playlist. Thank you for watching, and thank you for allowing me to continue to be authentically who I am as I discover myself a little bit more and more, new hairdo and all. All right, my loves, have a beautiful night. Enjoy the rain. Turn all the devices off and just listen to the rain on the roof or the window or wherever you're at. And let that find some comfort in your soul. Have a beautiful rest of your night. Cheers.